In the name of Allah, who is the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Leena Tanveer from the BS5 Chemistry Department, and today I'm going to present oxytocin. First of all, we have to see the contents table. It contains a history, description, properties, sources, uses and manufacturing, functions, and the safety and hazards. The first topic to be discussed is history. The term oxytocin is derived from two Greek words, eutokic and the tokos. Eutokic means sharp and swift, and the tokos meaning childbirth. The uterine process was discovered by British pharmacologist Henry Hallett Dale in 1906. He found an extract from the human posterior pituitary gland contracted the uterus of the pregnant cat. He named the unknown substance oxytocin using the Greek words for quick and the birth. In the 1911, he began using the pituitary extract to stimulate childbirth contraction. About 50 years later, the biochemist Vincent Duvigneau took up the potent pituitary substance. By 1953, he identified the 9 amino acids and set them into the right order and headedness, and discovered the biological important disulfide bond between the two cysteines that create a ring in the peptide hormone. He carried out the synthesis in the 1953. That was the first polypeptide that was synthesized. Later, Duvigneau was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work. Next topic is its description. In this topic, we will discuss what is oxytocin. Oxytocin is derived by enzymatic splitting from the peptide precursor encoded by the human OXT gene. Recombinant oxytocin is a oxytocin, a synthetic cyclic peptide form of naturally occurring posterior pituitary hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin bind to oxytocin receptor in the uterine myometrium and trigger the G protein coupled receptor signal transduction cascade that causes the increased intracellular calcium concentration. When the calcium concentration is increased, it will activate myosin light chain kinase, which in turn induces the formation of the contractile protein actomyosin. This stimulates a uterine smooth muscle contraction, and the agent also stimulates smooth muscles in the mammary gland, thereby causing lactation. Together with the neuropeptide vasopressin, it is believed to be influence to social cognition and behavior. It has a role as an oxytocic and a vasodilator agent. It is a peptide hormone and a heterodytic cyclic peptide. Oxytocin is an oxytocic, and the physiological effect of oxytocin is by means of increased uterine smooth muscle contraction and the tone. The next topic to discuss is properties. It is containing two types of properties, physical and the chemical properties. By the physical properties, we came to know that it is a white to yellowish brown product. It is hygroscopic in nature. It is easily soluble in the water and the butanol. The half-life of the oxytocin is about 3 to 6 minutes. Next topic is its chemical properties. By chemical properties, we came to know about its molecular formula, molecular weight, formal charge, vapor pressure, and its decomposition. Molecular weight is C43, A66, and 12O12S2. Its molecular weight is 1007.2. Its formal charge is 0, and the vapor pressure is 0.0 millimeter mercury at 25 degrees Celsius. It has a highly complex structure. When it is exposed to heat decomposition, it emits toxic fumes of sulfur oxide and the nitric oxides. The next topic to discuss is sources. In this topic, we will discuss how we can get oxytocin and what are its sources. There are two types of sources, neural and the non-neural sources. Neural sources including the hypothalamus, neurosecretory nerve endings, and the pituitary glands. In the hypothalamus, oxytocin is made in the magnocellular neurosecretory cells, and in the pituitary gland, oxytocin is packaged in large, dense core vesicles. The secretion of the oxytocin from neurosecretory nerve endings is regulated by the electrical activity of the oxytocin cells. And then is the non-neural sources. Non-neural sources are containing endogenous oxytocin concentration in the brain is much thousand folds higher than the peripheral level. Outside the brain, oxytocin is containing cell and it is highly identified in several diverse tissues, including in the females and the males. In the females, it is present in the corpus luteum, and in the males, it is present in the testicle interstitial cells of the lady. In the both sexes of male and the female, it is present in the retina, adrenal medulla, thalamus, and the pancreas. Next is the oxytocin rich foods. As we know that oxytocin is also present in the foods like bananas, blueberries, strawberries, apples, nuts, seeds, chicken, onions, salmon, kale, chickpeas, and cauliflower. So we can also get oxytocin by such foods. Moving toward the next topic, that is uses and the manufacturing. First of all, we have to have a look on the uses of the oxytocin. Oxytocin is indicated for the medical rather than the elective induction of the labor. Elective induction of the labor is defined as the initiation of the labor for the convenience in an individual with the term pregnancy who is free of medical indications. Is also present in the human drugs as well as animal drugs. Drugs stimulate contraction of the myometrium. They are used to induce labor. They are used to prevent a controlled postpartum hemorrhage and to assess fetal status in high risk pregnancies. They may be also used alone or with other drugs to induce abortions. Next is the method of the manufacturing. It can be obtained from the posterior lobe of the pituitary of the healthy hogs and the cattle. It is produced in the hypothalamus and is secreted in the bloodstream by the posterior pituitary gland. Secretion of the oxytocin depend upon the electrical activity of the neuron in the hypothalamus. When the such nerve cell or neuron cells are excited or active, they are released into the bloodstream. Next topic is its functions. Its function containing oxytocin is involved in the regulation of the wide range of intertwined behavior. It acts as a chemical messenger and has an important role in the human behavior, including recognition, trust, and the mother-infant bonding. Oxytocin indirectly stimulates contraction of the uterine muscle, smooth muscle by increasing the sodium permeability of uterine myofibrils. High estrogen concentration lowered the threshold for uterine response to oxytocin. Uterine response to oxytocin increases with the duration of the pregnancy and is greater in the patient who are in the labor than those who are not in the labor. Next is the oxytocin is the peptide well known for its hormonal role in the parturition and the lactation in the females. Oxytocin produces vasodilation of vascular smooth muscle, increasing renal, coronary, and the cerebral blood flow. Blood pressure is usually unchanged, but following IV administration of very large doses or undiluted solution, blood pressure may decreases. An initial fall in the blood pressure is usually followed by a small but sustained increase in the blood pressure. The next point of function is that it is also used to stimulate contraction of the uterus during the labor and to induce labor. Here is a cycle of the oxytocin function that how it is used in the human life. First of all, it is used in the fetal development. Then in the birth, it is used in the parturition, autoregulation, and the lactation. In the childhood, it is used in the proper parenting and the pair bonding. Then in the adult sense, adult scene, it is used in the social behavior, social recognition, and the cognition, social memory. In the adulthood, it is used in the it has a function in the aggression, sexual behavior, and the bonding with a mate choice, feel trust, emotional love, etc., and the neuroendocrine. Next topic to discuss is safety and the hazards. As we know that when we are doing a research in the laboratory, we have to know about the safety and the hazards of the compound. First of all, it is acute toxic. A person can fatal if swallowed. It is harmful. It is highly irritant when it is exposed to skin and causes skin irritation. When it is exposed to eye, it causes serious eye irritation and the serious eye damage. It is harmful when inhaled. It causes a long-term health hazard when it is used for long term. It may cause a respiratory irritation and respiratory tract irritation, single exposure, specific target organ toxicity. So when we are doing experiment and lab research on oxytocin, we should use its preventive measures. That's all from my side. Thank you.